There's a principle that is called Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time you give it. So you give the goal this year and it will take all year or never happen. But give the same goal 90 days and your mind compresses your work to fit. That day doesn't just set the end, it shapes the middle as well. So when I tell you that the day builds the readiness, I'm not being poetic. I am being literal. Welcome back to the Life Builders. If you're meeting me for the first time, I'm a clarity coach and I work with visionaries at crossroads regardless of age who are confused or overwhelmed about their dreams. Today I want to share something with you that will reshape how you approach every important decision for the rest of your life. It is small, it is mechanical, but it works in 100% of cases that I've ever applied it to. The big idea is this: the date builds the readiness, not the other way around. Most of us think that readiness is an internal feeling, something that arrives, something that needs to be summoned through prayer, journaling, or one more YouTube teaching. And once it's there, then we can finally commit. What I've learned in almost 2 decades of coaching is this: readiness is not a feeling that produces a date. Readiness is a state that gets produced by a date. Now, let me show you why this is mechanical and not motivational. 3 things actually happen in your brain the moment you put a real date on a goal. Number 1, your brain shifts into background processing. There's a principle called the Zeigarnik Effect, discovered almost 100 years ago. It says that your brain holds on to unfinished tasks with a tighter grip than the finished ones. The moment you apply or appoint a real date, your brain literally cannot let it go. It works on it while you're sleeping, while you shower, while you commit. The date gives you a 24-hour background processor running quietly on your behalf. Number 2, your attention filter changes. Your brain has something that is called the reticular activating system. It decides what you notice. The moment a date is set, the filter shifts. You start seeing the person who could help you, the opportunity that you would have walked past, the skill you didn't know you needed, and so on. Not because new things appeared in your life, but because your brain is finally looking. And then number 3, your work compresses. There's a principle that is called Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time you give it. So you give the goal this year and it will take all year or never happen. But give the same goal 90 days and your mind compresses your work to fit. That day doesn't just set the end, it shapes the middle as well. So when I tell you that the day builds the readiness, I'm not being poetic. I am being literal. The moment the appointment lands in your calendar, those 3 mechanical things start happening in your brain, whether you know it or not. You become somebody different by the date itself. Don't forget that we're wrapping up the SMART series today and we're reviewing how to use time to our advantage. So let me show you this principle in the 3 areas that I help my clients to get clarity. 1 is the area of the goal. Pick the goal that you have been carrying the longest, the one that you keep saying that you will do this year or eventually. Right now, you don't feel ready for it. The plan isn't clear. The path looks impossible. The fear is loud. And as long as you want to feel ready, none of that will change. I promise you. 5 years from now, you'll still not feel ready because the absence of a date is what's keeping you in the fog. But put a specific date on it, day, month, year, and watch what happens. Suddenly, your brain starts asking real questions. What needs to happen by day 30 for me to hit day 90? Well, who do I need to talk to? What do I need to learn? What can I cut off from my life to make room for this? And gradually, the fog begins to lift. Not because you got braver, but because you got specific. Now that's why Habakkuk 2 verse 2 and 3 again says, write the vision, make it plain, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. An appointed time is a fixed point, a point that calls forward all the preparation that it needs and refuses to let you stay where you are. The goal with a date on it is the only one that actually finishes. And then number 2, the conversation in that relationship. There's a conversation that you've been postponing. You keep waiting for the right moment. Hear me. The right moment is not coming. The right moment is something we invented to give ourselves permission to keep avoiding that discussion. What works instead is the same mechanic. Pick a date, not sometime this week, a specific date, Wednesday at 2 p.m., Saturday morning over coffee, Tuesday on the drive home, whatever. But watch what happens the moment you put a date on a hard conversation. Number one, you stop avoiding. The decision is made. You only have to honor the calendar now. Number two, you start preparing. Your brain finally engages what to say instead of whether to say it. The word starts arriving because they finally have somewhere to go. And number three, the other person now picks up on the change in your energy. They sense something has shifted in you. Often, the conversation becomes easier than you feared because they also were waiting. And finally, the date for the conversation is what builds the readiness for the conversation, period, not the other way around. In Matthew 5, verse 23 and 24, paraphrase of course, Jesus said, leave the gift, go first, be reconciled, and then come back. Notice the order in scripture. It says, go first, set the date first. The readiness will follow the appointment, not the other way around. And then number three, the launch of that venture. This is the one that hits most people the hardest. The launch that you've been postponing. Maybe it's a business, maybe it's a book, maybe it's a podcast, a course, a freebie, a service, a website, whatever it is. Something you have been almost finishing for too long. And you've been telling yourself that you launch it when it feels right, when it's polished, when you feel ready. But I want you to hear me now. That feeling ain't coming. Not because you are lazy, not because you are broken, but because launch readiness does not arrive in a feeling. It arrives as a deadline. So here's the guide I want to give you to take with you today. 3 steps, not a motivational speech, a path. Step 1, pick the launch you've been postponing, the one that has been on your list the longest, just one. 2, set a date that you cannot move. 90 days from today is a strong place to start. Write it on the wall. Not only that, tell 3 people, make it real enough that breaking it will cost you face. And then step 3, work your way backwards. Pull out a calendar. What does day 75 look like? Day 60, day 14, day 7. You are not waiting for ready anymore. You are working a plan. And working a plan is what builds the readiness. By day 60, you'll be more prepared than you've ever felt in 5 years of waiting. Trust me. By day 30, you'll be more confident than you ever imagined. Not because you became someone new, because the deadline forced the work that the wait was always going to avoid. Habakkuk 2 and verse 3 says the vision is for an appointed time, right? But the appointed time, my friend, becomes appointed when you appoint it in your calendar. And here's a connecting truth to everything that we've talked about now. We've touched on 3 places today: your goals, your relationships, and your work. Different topics, but one teaching. The same mechanic across all 3. The date is what builds the readiness, not the other way around. Most of us have been living life with the order reversed, waiting for readiness to appear before we set the date, believing that the feeling will come first and then the action will follow. But God's economy works in the opposite direction. Scripture is full of appointments that came before the readiness. Look at David for an example. David was appointed king as a boy years before he sat on the throne. Esther was placed in the palace before she knew she'd been placed there for such a time as this. Moses already had a date with Pharaoh before he had the language for it. The appointment came first. The readiness was built by the appointment itself. So, the dream that is sitting in your notebook is waiting for the same thing. Not for you to feel ready, hear me, for you to appoint the time. And as I close, here's what I want you to do this weekend. You know me, I'll always give you an assignment. Pick the one area that matters most to you. If it's your goal, put a specific date on the one you've been carrying the longest. Day, month, and year. Write it where you see it. Tell 3 people. If it's a conversation, pick a specific day and time this week, not sometime soon. Maybe Wednesday at 2 p.m., Saturday morning, make the appointment and then keep it. If it's a launch this weekend, pick the date, 90 days from today. Then write out what day 75, day 60, day 30, day 7, and day 1 need to look like. You will not feel ready when you write it. Hear me. That's the point. Write it anyway. Watch what gets built between now and the date. And let me remind you, the date is the discipline. The date is the appointment. The date is what builds the version of you who can show up to it. Now, if something resonated with you while you were watching, send me a message. The link is in the channel description. And hit the subscribe button to give this channel more opportunity for visibility. And I'll see you again next Saturday for another journey of purpose. God bless you, and I believe I'll see you at the top.